You gotta stay here a few more days, the doctor says, so I'm gonna take the kids back to your parents.
How are they?
Oh, they're fine.
How's Sarah? How's she eating?
Well, Sue's got her on some formula or something. You really scared me last night. You were so sure someone had taken the kids. Anybody ever saw you like that, they wouldn't think of taking a kid of yours.
No one's gonna take my kids. None of them.
She's doing a little better. I think we'll let her rest this morning and we'll give her a call a little later, okay?
Okay. Straws. S-T-R-A-W-S.
That's right, for $60. All right. This is a 5-letter word, Madeline, pertaining to musical sound.
Tone? T-O-N-E-S?
I'm sorry, it isn't T-V.
One down.
One down is a work team of 5-letter words. Staff. Staff is right. Thank you. $50 to fill team, all right? Continue, please.
10 across.
10 across is extreme or ultra. The slang usage, please. 6-letter word. Extreme or ultra. The slang usage. Teammate. Extreme or ultra. I'm sorry.
Where's your daughter?
She's in the hospital.
Teammate. All right, 4 down. 4 down is a 3-letter word.
Sheriff, we have a court order.
Give it to him who you are.
Oh, wait. Leave her alone, baby.
Give me that baby. You got no right.
What's the baby? What's the baby? Rick, let it go. Let it go. Rick, please let it go. Let it go.
Here's your court order.
Damn it! They're not taking my baby!
Sarah!
See, the thing is, the information we had is a couple weeks old. I mean, they could have moved anywhere by now.
We'll soon see.
Oh, Bill, no, not again.
Oh, Bill, look. Oh, my God. Oh,
Thank you. Oh, hello, sweetheart. I'm so sorry I let you down. Honey, I will never, ever let you go again. I will never, ever let you go.
I want my baby back.
I signed a contract on an egg, not on the life of a child. Once she was born, there was no way I could feel whole again, giving her away. They didn't have the phlebitis. They didn't have the blood pressures. They didn't have the nosebleeds, the weight gains. The baby is mine, and I'm going back to New Jersey, and I'm going to get her back. I'm the mother.
Since the judge denied you custody, do you feel you've lost the battle? It was just a pre-trial hearing on temporary custody. It's just a 3-week delay. It means nothing.
Isn't it true the longer the Stearns have custody of the baby, the stronger it bonds with them?
Well, that's what I tried to tell the judge, but he wouldn't listen. A baby belongs with its mother. Now, if he can't remember that motherhood is the basic issue here, we'll let the press remind him. We'll win this one in the court of public opinion.
They're stealing my baby, and they're letting them get away with it. I just want to see my child.
Have you talked to the Stearns at all?
Leave my mommy alone! Don't touch her, mommy!
I'm going to protect you from all this. God has to help me.
Can't you please leave us alone?
We want to give you a chance to tell your side of the story, out of fairness to the baby.
Fairness to the baby? The judge wanted the proceedings sealed out of fairness to Melissa.
But the proceedings are now open to the public.
Because Mary Beth broke the seal.
She didn't break the seal. Her mother called the press. You won't look very sympathetic to the public if we can learn about Mary Beth, but not you.
We don't care about the public. We care about Melissa. I'll talk to you at the courtroom, but please, let us live our lives in peace.
Perfect.
My mom was on TV in Los Angeles, Boston, and New York, and I was on TV last week.
Great. Look at the book, honey.
Should I wear the hat?
Perfect. Mary, why don't you look over your shoulder like you're helping them with their homework? Perfect. Now, you got some reminder of the baby?
Yeah, I set her crib up in Tuesday's room. We could have settled this without going to court. They want me dead, is how I feel.
But you started out as friends, didn't you?
It wasn't really friendship. They wanted to meet my family. They wanted to see what kind of stock I came from. It was like they were buying a side of beef. And when the baby was born, they waited till after work to come to the hospital, till visiting hours. And when they saw the baby, they just stared at it and smiled a little. They were very unemotional.
How long since you've seen the baby?
6 weeks. She's with Betsy and Bill now, but I don't even know where they are.
What's your next step?
On Wednesday, the judge is going to decide if I should regain possession of the baby from the Stearns. The guardian ad litem has legal custody for now.
The guardian ad litem?
The judge appointed Sarah her own lawyer, Lorraine Abraham.
The adults can argue from now till kingdom come about legalities of the contracts and the damages, etc., but we've got a child here. And the best we can do at this stage is to cause the least amount of harm, and that would be to maintain continuity and to keep her with the Stearns until this case is decided. Thank you, Your Honor.
Court instructs the guardian ad litem to arrange for psychiatric evaluations of all parties in this case regarding possession of the baby, to whom we shall continue to refer in this matter as Baby M. She will remain with the Stearns until the court rules on the legality of the surrogate contract. Mrs. Whitehead will be allowed visits with the baby 1 hour, twice weekly, under strict supervision at the Conklin Youth Facility. Visitation is denied to Richard Whitehead and the rest of the Whitehead family because this court cannot see what benefits this could possibly have for a 6-month-old baby. The court is concerned only with the best interests of the baby, not of the adults.
חדש מספרינג, תפוזינה.
ועכשיו בחנויות הכוכב של לוריאל, קונדישנר ללא שטיפה ומסכה לטיפול עמוק אל סב, ב5 שקלים חיסכון.
אקסוס לכדור הארץ, מבקש נתונים לשיפורים אווירודינמיים. תודה.
מבקש נתונים להגדלת נפח הדלת.
מבקש גישה נוחה לפתיחת הדלת. אקסוס לכדור הארץ, מבקש הצעות לשם.
פותחים דלת לעידן אפולו תדירן.
טוינג, 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 טוינג.
קח את החיים תפוחים.
תן תפוח, משקה קל תפוחים, רגיל, מוגז ודיאט.
לפניכם שואב האבק הרעב ביותר בעולם. פיליפ סופר טורבו 738, היחיד עם 2 מדחסי טורבו המפתחים 1400 ואט.
כך פיליפס, העתיד כבר בפנים.
ועכשיו חידוש עולמי ובלעדי, גלי אבק מהפכני חינם לרוכשים שואב פיליפ סופר טורבו 738.
ההצעות הגדולות הולכות עם הכרטיס הגדול, ויזה, 1,000 כרטיסי טיסה ללונדון או לפריז, $145 בתוספת נקודות בלבד. פרטים בעיתונים ובטלמסר.
טוינג, 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 טוינג.
קח את החיים תפוחים.
תן תפוח, משקה קל תפוחים, רגיל, מוגז ודיאט.
כשעוצרים וחושבים על זה רגע, יש מקום לכולם. למייקל, לדן, לנגיסט, לאנה. העלייה נמשכת. מתנדבים המוכנים לסייע בקליטת עולים חדשים, אנא התקשרו לטלפון 177-022-5299.
T2000 לקטילת תיקנים, והם כבר ירקדו במקום אחר.
מולט שמורת טבע, מוצרי איכות לאדם ולסביבה.
זה לא זה, בלי קרמל סלקטד.
אחרי יום שלם מול המחשב, אני מוכרחה קצת אקשן. אחיזת כביש מעולה. עם 3 ילדים ו1,000 חוגים, אני מוכרחה מכונית בטוחה ואמינה. אוטו זה לא פיצה, מוכרחים לחשוב טוב טוב לפני שקונים. אדומה כמובן.
סיטרואן ZX, זה בדיוק זה. ועכשיו מבצע סיטרואן, אשראי בלי ריבית וטלפון נוקיה עם קו מתנה, פרטים בסוכנויות.
מבית היוצר של בברלי הילס, מלרוס פלייס ודוגמניות בעם, על פי רב המחר של ג'קי קולינס, קנדיס ברגר, אנטוני הופקינס, מרי קרוסבי, רוד סטייגר, סוזן סאמרס, סטפני פאוורס ואנג'י דיקנסון. נשות הוליווד, שידורי קשת שבת הבאה אחרי הדקה ה-91.
גבי גזית, שידורי קשת שלישי אחרי דודו טופז.
ערוץ 2 משדר בסיומו של כל יום שידורים שיר מפרי עטו של משורר ישראלי. אנחנו קוראים ואתם נהנים. להתראות הלילה.
שלישי, פעמיים כי טוב באופן חד פעמי. 1. גלגל המזל, תוכנית ראשונה עם מנחת הגלגל החדשה רות גונזלס. 2. דסטין הופמן ואביב גפן ברשות הבידור עם דודו טופז. שלישי בשידורי קשת, אמצע השבוע, מרכז העניינים.
1 hour twice a week. It's just another way to punish me, but it's not fair to Sarah.
Why isn't it fair to Sarah?
Because I'm her mother. She would want to be with me. Betsy is not her mother, and Bill was just a sperm donor.
Incidentally, we also don't believe that Betsy Stern was infertile. We believe she delayed motherhood for her career and let Mary Beth take the risk. Where is Mrs. Stern today?
She's gone home to take care of Melissa.
There's a question as to whether your wife is really infertile.
I don't think fertility or infertility is relevant here.
Oh, well, the attorneys for the Whiteheads say it is. They say if your wife is able to have a child, it would invalidate the surrogacy contract. Mrs. Whitehead agreed to help an infertile couple.
That's where we differ, but we'll let the judge decide that.
So you're saying she's not infertile?
Well, this is a very private matter. I don't think they want to discuss that.
Mr. Stern! Yeah, Stern.
They're late. I haven't seen my daughter in 6 weeks, and they're 20 minutes late. Oh, Sarah, my baby. Oh, hello. Hello. Hello, my baby. Oh, I miss you. I have missed you so much. I have missed you.
I'm sorry, Mary Beth. If you close the door, I'll have to stay inside.
I just want to be alone with my baby.
I'm sorry, Mary Beth.
She's not the same.
Of course she is, Mary Beth. It's going to take time.
She's so unhappy and listless. She's being destroyed by all of this. I just want her home.
Go down, down on the floor in your mouth. Good.
After 5 months of pre-trial hearings, depositions, and psychiatric testing of both families, the trial of baby M gets underway tomorrow in New Jersey Superior Court. These women have
I'll get it.
far away as New York
Diana.
express their concerns and support Mary Beth Whitehead.
Hello?
You're a rich doctor, you can afford to buy a child. That's the only reason you can get one. Give the kid back to her mother, you rotten people.
Mary Beth Whitehead will be coming into the courtroom shortly, and Betsy Stern will be following shortly thereafter.
What, another one?
Many questions will be answered in the coming weeks. Did Mary Beth Whitehead threaten to kill herself and the baby? In sworn statements, she tells the court she did not. Is Betsy Stern truly infertile? And if not, is the contract invalid? Sterns have so far refused to comment on this matter. However, the question foremost in everyone's mind is still months away from being decided. In whose home will baby M be growing up?
All rise for the Honorable Judge Harvey R. Sorkat.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. This trial will be conducted in 2 phases. The first phase will address the validity of the surrogacy contract and whether or not such a contract is enforceable. The second phase will address the issue of custody and what are the best interests of baby M. One decision will be handed down after both phases are over. You can open as you will, Mr. Skoloff.
Thank you. Your Honor, the issue to be decided in this courtroom is whether a promise to make a gift of life can be enforced. William and Elizabeth Stern had the American dream of a home and a family. But Mrs. Stern has a medical condition that prevents her from carrying a baby without significant risk to her health. In striving for their dream of a family, they found what they thought was the perfect solution: a surrogate mother. So 4 intelligent adults came together and agreed that Mary Beth Whitehead would carry a child of Bill Stern, a child of his own flesh and blood. And then she would return that child to Bill and Betsy. They would love and nurture that child as 100% their own. And not one of the 4 will testify that there was ever any question but that the child would be brought up and raised by the Sterns. Indeed, Mrs. Whitehead will testify that she first became involved as a surrogate with another couple for 8 months before she even met the Sterns. So that for a period of almost 2 years, she and Rick Whitehead knew and understood the concept.
When all the testimony is heard, and when every lawyer has spoken, what you're going to see is that the defendant in this case is motherhood. And the issue is whether money can buy anything in this society. We're here because Mary Beth Whitehead could not deny her motherhood, and because Mary Beth Whitehead stood up and said, no, there are some things money can't buy. You're going to see some very fundamental differences between the Sterns and the Whiteheads. The Sterns are educated, and they're good people. The Whiteheads are good people, but they're not educated people. Mary Beth did not graduate from high school. Her husband was fighting a war in Vietnam while the Sterns were in college. He doesn't have a formal education. The niceties of contracts might sometimes be lost on them. But what they do know are feelings. Feelings like those that Mary Beth had that made her think she could help somebody in such a profound way, which are the same feelings that ran so deeply in her that made it impossible for her to give up her child. Because no matter what somebody else says, no matter what's put on a piece of paper, no matter what the rhetoric, there's a child that grew within her. And as the child grew, the mother's love for the child grew, and the bond to the child grew with it. And even though people said a deal's a deal, you've got to go through with it. And even though money was out there as an inducement, she couldn't go through with it. It wasn't Betsy Stern's child. It was her child.
Your Honor, with all due respect to my colleagues, I believe that I represent the most important person in this case, a 9-month-old child who has come to be known as Baby M. She cannot speak, and I must speak for her. I say to all who come to this court today and in the days to come that we must focus on the needs and rights of this tiny, vulnerable human being. I cannot therefore argue that she should be stigmatized or deemed the product of an illegal agreement. She is the agreement. It gave her life. To argue against it would be to argue for the position that would make her an aberration, a freak of public curiosity. Contracts govern relationships between people and allow us to live in society, to fulfill our expectations and to go about our lives securely. The terms of this contract are clear. While performance is painful, it is not impossible. In that light, Baby M's interests are best served by finding that birthright, this contract, is legitimate. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, counselors. Mr. Skoloff, your first witness.
I call as my first witness, Your Honor, the plaintiff, William Stern.
It was in December of 1979. Betsy woke up one morning and she had problems with her vision. I drove her to the ophthalmologist, and while he was examining her... no, actually, it was after he had performed the swinging lamp test. I noticed that she had tears streaming down her cheeks. Well, the doctor told her that she had Marcus Gunn pupil. And she asked him whether or not she had multiple sclerosis. And the doctor looked down at the floor and he wouldn't look at her, and he asked her whether or not she had any other symptoms, and she said yes.
Then what happened?
Well, we looked into the medical literature, and we discovered that between 20 and 40% of all women with multiple sclerosis will suffer an exacerbation of their disease after the birth of a baby.
Mr. Stern, did you ever tell Mrs. Whitehead that your wife was not infertile?
No, I told her it was a risk to Betsy's health, that it could be dangerous.
Unbelievable.
What was it that appealed to you about surrogate parenting?
It was important to me and to Bill because he had lost all his relatives except his parents in the Holocaust. After they died, he had no relatives. And I liked knowing that one of us would have a genetic link to our child. I also liked that there was this woman coming voluntarily to be artificially inseminated by my husband, who would give up the child to my husband and allow me to legally adopt.
Now, at any point prior to or during the pregnancy, did Mrs. Whitehead tell you that she would not give up the child?
On the contrary. In fact, at our first meeting, she had said she wasn't going to show up on our doorstep. She was anxious to do this. And Rick said, "I'll kill you if you keep this baby."
Are there risks to a fetus as a woman gets older?
Yes, there are risks to the fetus.
Were you ever concerned about any risks to you due to your age, 36?
I was willing to accept all risks other than my multiple sclerosis.
Did you know there are 100 risks?
There are probably more than 100. I don't know how many there are.
And all of them were willing to assume...
I just said that. I was willing to accept all risks, either to myself or to the fetus.
That's just the way it was.
Well, why was the multiple sclerosis brought up so late?
What? Because it wasn't anybody's business.
It was a private matter, personal information. I don't think the world needs to know about that.
But it's all coming out now.
Yes.
Is it worth it?
Yes. Melissa is worth it. She's worth everything. Everything.
How do you feel it went today?
I have a lot of confidence. I know she'll be home.
What thoughts have you had as you sit in the courtroom?
Dad, I want her back with me. And if there is a God, that she'll be where she rightfully should be.
At first, I was against it. I guess it's my pride. I thought I'd feel like less of a man if she carried somebody else's child. But I understood her reasoning. I can live with it.
Did Mary Beth indicate to you whether or not she'd be paid?
Yes. She wasn't interested in the money. We didn't discuss that.
Mr. Whitehead, do you recall Mary Beth telling you why she wanted to become a surrogate?
Yes. She wanted to help an infertile couple.
Mm-hmm. How about the money?
No. She told the Sterns from day one that she wasn't interested in the money.
No? Well, how about you?
Yeah, why not? It could help.
It would help a little bit, right?
Sure. It could help my kids out in the real world.
Well, you get up at 3 a.m. to run that truck, is that correct?
Yes.
So $10,000 is a way to Well, a lot of those mornings you wouldn't have to do it. It wouldn't hurt. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah. Now, on May 5th, you testified that you were confused and you fled with the baby.
I didn't say I was confused. I said that there was confusion in the house.
Were you confused?
No.
Well, there was the court order.
Yes.
Did the court order say deliver the baby to the Stearns?
It said deliver Melissa Elizabeth to the Stearns.
What did that mean to you?
Nothing. Her name is Sarah Elizabeth. She's got a birth certificate to that effect.
Mr. Whitehead, are you telling this judge sitting here that when you saw that order, you didn't know it meant that baby?
At the time, I was trying to find a lawyer.
Now, I asked you a simple question. You're in a courtroom now, and you're talking to a judge. Did you not know when you saw that document, it meant that little baby in that house?
I knew.
And you weren't confused?
No, I wasn't.
Thank you. Betsy. Morning, Bill.
Mr. Cassidy made the claim you're using your money to intimidate the Whiteheads?
Let me answer that, Bill. You say the Stearns are using their money to intimidate the Whiteheads? It just so happens that there have been twice as many Whitehead lawyers as Stern lawyers, 3 times as many Whitehead expert witnesses than the Stearns can afford to produce, 5 times as many fact witnesses, all produced at a tremendous cost. And we supposedly have the money. Why don't you ask them how they can afford to do any of it at all, let alone outclass us 3 to 1.
Stay rolling with that. Fred, write the hammer down. Fred, write the hammer down. Is your side being bankrolled by some outside groups?
Yes, sir.
Not that I'm aware of. If any of you viewers would like to help Mrs. Whitehead out, please let me know.
What about the limo?
Well, we have a 2-hour trip each way to the courthouse. The limousine serves as an office. Now, if you'll excuse me, Mrs. Whitehead is about to take the stand.
אם תשפשפו את האמבטיה בחומר תוקפני מדי, זה מה שעלול לקרות. עם סיף זה לא יקרה. סיף הוא קרם ניקוי מרוכז, המתגבר ברכות גם על הכתמים הקשוחים ביותר. והמשטח נשאר ממש כמו חדש. ליטוף קל, והכל מבריק. סוף סוף סיף, הכוח לנקות בלי שריטות.
אאוטסיידר, אני יודע, אאוטסיידר, אני יודע, 5 בקבוקים, כוס אחת מתנה, כוס מתנה, כוס מתנה, כוס מתנה.
עכשיו סיימנו אירוע ל-600 איש. האוכל היה טעים. להכנה השתמשנו ב4 תנורים, 10 סירים של 60 ליטר ויותר מ-50 תבניות גסטרונום. ועכשיו צריך לנקות את הכל ומהר. בשביל זה יש לנו סאנו פורטה פלוס.
חדש מסאנו, פורטה פלוס. קצף להסרת שומן שרוף ולכלוך קשה ממשטחים חמים וקרים.
אצלי בבית? גם סאנו פורטה פלוס. מקצוען אמיתי.
גו, בצפרי בפארק הירקון נפתח פארק הפאור רנג'רס הראשון בעולם. מתקני שעשועים אדירים בדמויותיהם של ג'ייסון, בילי, זאק, טריני, קימברלי וטומי. אז קדימה, להסתער על מסלול המגזורד, לצאת להרפתקאות בג'ונגל הטרופי ולהתאמן בתרגילי לחימה. כי מוכרחים לנצח את ריטה, גולדר והמפלצות ולהציל את כדור הארץ. גו פאור רנג'רס, יש לכם גם בילוי בפארק הפאור רנג'רס וגם חוויה בצפרי בכרטיס אחד.
לחידוש ולהברקת רהיטי עץ, קחו סאנו רהיט. מה הבעיה?
מולט שמורת טבע. מוצרי איכות לאדם ולסביבה.
סאנו רסס ונגב, לניקוי מהיר ללא כל צורך בשטיפה. מה הבעיה? רוצה לקבל יותר על הכסף שלך? בישיר הראשון תקבל ריבית גבוהה במיוחד. אתה צריך הלוואה? בישיר הראשון ריבית נמוכה ביותר.
מספיק שתדבר בטלפון עם הישיר הראשון.
חייג עכשיו 177-022-1024. הישיר הראשון, אין עוד בנק כזה.
האמת? לא רואה מה אני הולך לעשות עם ה-BA הזה.
תשים במסגרת ותתלה בסלון.
להשקיע 3 שנים ב-BA רק בשביל תעודה?
ביטוח, יש BA בביטוח. זה יותר מתעודה, יש לך משהו ביד.
את יודעת מה? BA בביטוח זה גם מקצוע.
זה גם קריירה.
זה אפילו תואר.
מחייגים 03-6388-456 ומקבלים את ידיעון ההרשמה חינם. BA של המכללה לביטוח.
זה נשמע כמו פרסומת, לא?
Where did you first meet the Stearns?
Victoria Station in New Brunswick.
And who was at that meeting?
Rick, myself, Betsy, and Bill.
And you had a discussion?
Yes.
What did the Stearns tell you they would hope to do?
I don't remember exactly what was said. It was just getting to know each other.
Well, do you remember what you said to the Stearns?
Not really. I mean, they knew why I was there. I knew why they were there. They were the infertile couple, and I was the person who thought she could give them a child.
Did they say anything to indicate they thought they were comfortable with you?
They were nice. They were friendly. I thought I knew what I was doing.
Excuse me. Listen to the question.
Uh-huh.
Can you answer it?
No.
No, you can't answer the question?
No, I can't answer it with a yes or a no.
It only calls for a yes or a no. I don't mean to argue with you, ma'am. Did they say anything to you to indicate that they felt comfortable with you?
I don't remember.
Thank you for clarifying, Judge. Before the meeting broke up, did you and the Stearns come to any understanding that you would be their surrogate?
They told me they wanted me to have their child.
Did you agree that you would work with him?
I don't think anything was said one way or the other. I mean, I was there. I was under the impression from what the infertility center had told me that I didn't have a choice. They didn't tell me I could pick the couple.
And after you went home, did you decide you were going to help Betsy and Bill?
I planned on helping an infertile couple. I thought they were infertile.
Mrs. Whitehead, when you met Bill and Betsy Stern, did you make him a promise?
Yes.
And was the promise that you would carry his baby?
Yes.
And was the promise that you would deliver that baby to him after the baby was born?
That's true.
And did you promise to let Betsy Stern adopt that baby?
That's true.
Well, Mrs. Whitehead, is there anything in the surrogate parenting agreement that says you have a right to keep that baby?
No.
Thank you. Now, your husband testified that the original reason you had for becoming a surrogate was to help an infertile couple.
Yes.
How you wanted to give the gift of life to a couple that could not have a child.
Yes.
And in the beginning, you didn't even care about the money.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Did you file in a federal court a suit against the infertility center worth over $1 million?
Objection to the relevance?
Well, I'm trying to prove here that there's tremendous bias in her testimony and that much of it is colored by the substantial amount of money that she's suing the infertility center for in a federal court.
How does that show bias?
I think it does, Mr. Cassidy. Overruled.
Now, Mrs. Whitehead, regarding this federal court suit, are you and your husband demanding money?
I don't know about money.
You don't know about money?
No.
Well, are you asking for money?
I don't know if that's in there.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness, please? Thank you. I'm going to ask you to take a look at this, please, and tell me if you recognize that as a copy of the federal court suit that you have against the infertility center. Just take your time.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I'm turning to page 17. Does this say compensatory damages?
Yes.
And does this say punitive damages?
Yes.
Could you define damages in layman's terms?
Can you tell me what damages means in layman's terms?
No.
Could it mean money?
That's not what it's about.
You're not talking to the federal court about money here.
No. I don't know. Is that what damages is, money?
Well, what did you hire your attorney to do?
To make sure that this will never happen to people like us again, and that Sarah, there will be no more babies like her. I don't care about money, Mr. Scala.
You don't care about money?
No.
Well, are you financially able to, together with your husband, support your family?
Right now?
Yes.
No, right now we're having some rough times.
And you've gone through rough times in the past?
Yes.
Did you ever go through a bankruptcy?
Yes.
Did you once have to go on welfare?
Yes.
Excuse me, Judge, what is the relevance of this?
Your Honor, once again, we're into the credibility question here. This woman is testifying that she doesn't understand what's going on around her. Yet she has a battery of lawyers here. She has another battery of lawyers in a federal court on a damage claim. I think the question is whether or not this woman understands everything she's doing. Where she's doing it, what she's doing.
Totally irrelevant, Judge.
Your client, Mr. Cassidy, has said, I don't care about money, and immediately thereafter she admits there were difficult times in the past, there are difficult times now. Seems to me a contradiction.
Have you determined where you think would be the best place for the child?
I wish I could say that I had, but I've hired a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and a family therapist to aid me in this determination, and they're not finished yet.
How do you really feel in your heart of hearts?
I still have some questions, but I'm hoping that their evaluations will answer them.
1 o'clock, right on time. Sarah, sweetie. Everyone, you remember Dr. Greif, Dr. Brzezinski, and Dr. Schechter from all those interviews?
How could we forget? Take your coat.
Hi, baby girl.
Thank you.
Hi, sweetie.
Doctor. Come on, Ryan, behave yourself. Sit over there.
Ryan would rather be out playing.
I don't blame him. So would I. It won't seem long, Ryan.
Ryan, you'd be surprised how much fun it can be to spend the afternoon with 2 psychiatrists and a psychologist.
Sarah, look what we brought you. Yes. Isn't he beautiful? Look at this big guy, huh?
I really don't like the clothes they dress her in. She has jungle rot on her feet from the socks. Actually, she's had very sensitive skin ever since she was born. I rub cream all over her body just for that reason. Of course, I buy her clothes each time that I'm with her, but that's no big deal. I mean, I pick out Ryan and Tuesday's clothes every day, too. So.
Yeah, I call them her Ken and Barbie dolls, and she even picks my clothes out.
Sometimes I like to choose my own clothes.
Yeah, but you guys don't know what to wear. You look like a bunch of frumps.
Can I hold her?
Shh, not so loud. She's gonna get cranky.
Well, can I hold her?
Hey, Ryan, careful. He has a little problem holding her.
I'd love some more tea, Mary Beth, if it wouldn't be too much of an inconvenience.
Oh, not at all. Would anybody else like some more tea?
Sure.
All right, be real careful. There we go.
She wants me. No, she wants me. No, she wants me.
She doesn't want either of you. She wants me. Sarah! 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 Sarah, here I am. Sarah! Hi. See, she's always looking for me. She needs me.
La, 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 la. Yeah. Yeah, well, she says dada when she's tired, right? Well, we don't know if it's to anyone. Not. But she says hi and baba, which may mean bottle or... Yes, dada. See, she must be tired. We don't know what she means, right?
It's been 3 hours. You must be pretty sick of us by now.
Not really. Well.
Bill, if you were not to get custody of Melissa, how often would you want to visit her?
I wouldn't want to visit her. I know. I love her. I love her very much. I'm just afraid it would confuse her. I want her to have one family. I don't want to have to think about her having another family out there somewhere. I just can't see it.
It might help reduce a sense of loss that she would experience, as do many adoptive children.
I just can't see it. I mean, I might reconsider, you know, down the road if the professionals advised it was in her best interest, but right now I just don't see it.
Things have been quiet here since the end of the contract phase of the Baby M trial. In a recent survey of 10 top U.S. law professors, 7 said they felt the contract was not enforceable. Meanwhile, the parties prepare for the custody phase of the trial, where each family will try to convince the judge why it is in the best interests of Baby M to be placed with them.
Where's Mom?
The judge's options are to give custody to Mrs. Whitehead or Mr. Stern, or to give joint custody. And he could terminate either side's parental rights. Under New Jersey law, a mother's rights can only be terminated in cases of neglect or abuse.
Daddy, what's parental rights?
Well, it's hard to explain exactly what they are, but if parental rights are terminated, you never see your baby again.
Hand-me-downs. That woman must be demented to dress you in junkola like that. After waiting 11 years for this baby. Now this has class. See, it says, I'm a little sister right across the front. And then over here is your name so that nobody will mistake you for another baby.
It's time to go, Mary Beth.
Okay, Lorraine. Tuesday. Picked out this dress. She misses you, sweetie. I miss you too, Booty Bop. I do. There you go. You're all snuggly. Oh, yes, you are. Oh, my sweet girl. My sweet girl.
It's very pretty, Mary Beth.
It's a present from Tuesday. I don't think Betsy will like it very much.
You underestimate them.
No, I don't, Lorraine. I don't want to leave you either, sweetie.
She got you dressed up in this time.
Mary Beth likes buying her clothes, that's all. Very straightforward.
Nothing Mary Beth does is straightforward. Oh, Bill. Look.
Oh, God, Mary Beth. It's all right, sweetheart. Be over in a couple of months.
Will it?
See, Daddy and Mommy have to go to court again today. Because we want to take care of you. Yes. She wants you to grow up to be a doctor like Mommy. Yeah. Or a scientist like Daddy. Or a teacher. Or a lawyer. Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. Maybe not a lawyer. Daddy's gonna tell the judge how much he loves his little girl. And his wife. And how much he wants to be your mommy.
Now, Bill, would you describe your feelings for the baby?
Well, she's the most important person in my life. I don't mean this as an insult to my wife, but maybe it's because we've done so much for her now. When I hold her, and she clutches my shirt, I feel so special. When she smiles, I see her beaming, and I feel so happy. It's like it's all worthwhile, all we've been through, all the pain. That she's worth it. And I love having her, and I love being her father.
Well, now, if you were awarded custody, would you voluntarily agree to marry Beth Whitehead, having visitation with Melissa?
No. No, there's too much bad blood between us. And you just have 4 people at each other's throats. And this poor little girl caught in the middle. And it's not going to do her any good.
Now, Betsy, what is your position about Mary Beth Whitehead having contact with Melissa?
I think it would be very detrimental for Melissa.
Why?
1, for making this case unsealed and turning it into a 3-ring circus. I can't forgive her for doing that to an innocent child. And she's exploited her children. In the press, in magazines, on TV. She's lied about me and Bill. She doesn't respect our parenthood and undermines us every chance she gets. I don't trust her. I don't know when she's manipulating us. Now telling the truth, now telling another lie.
רוצה לקבל יותר על הכסף שלך? בישיר הראשון תקבל ריבית גבוהה במיוחד. אתה צריך הלוואה? בישיר הראשון ריבית נמוכה ביותר.
מספיק שתדבר בטלפון עם הישיר הראשון.
חייג עכשיו 177-022-1024. הישיר הראשון, אין עוד בנק כזה.
ועכשיו בחנויות הכוכב של לוריאל, קונדישנר ללא שטיפה ומסכה לטיפול עמוק אל סב, ב5 שקלים חיסכון.
חדש בישראל, המייקאפ המדהים של מקס פקטור.
היא גילתה שהמייקאפ של מקס פקטור נותן לפנים שלה מראה שפשוט אי אפשר להתעלם ממנו. ואז...
במסיבה היא רקדה צמוד צמוד עם בחור זר במשך כל הערב. בסוף הוא ביקש להכיר אותה יותר מקרוב. האם מתעסקים? לא, שיתאמץ.
היי דפינישן מייקאפ, במראה מושלם וטבעי לאורך כל היום.
מבצע, כל מוצרי מקס פקטור ב15% הנחה.
יש דברים יפים בבית, הזקוקים מדי פעם לטיפול נמרץ. סנופוליטול, יש בו סיליקון שמתקן את הפגמים ופוליטורה שמכסה על התיקון. מלטפים את העץ והוא חדש ומבריק. כלי המתכת ייראו הרבה יותר טוב אחרי הטיפול בסנו רב מתכת. הברזים, משטחי הנירוסטה, כלי הנחושת, מוצר אחד מחדש ומבריק את כל סוגי המתכות. סנו רב מתכת. גילוי מהפכני במרוץ נגד המשקל העודף. טרימקס 2000.
טרימקס 2000 כוללת את אחד הסודות השמורים של הטבע, ה-HCA, מרכיב ייחודי שהמדע הצליח להפיק מפרי טרופי נדיר. טרימקס 2000 היא דיאטה יעילה ביותר. ה-HCA מעכב את הפיכת הפחמימות לשומנים, ובמקביל גורם לתחושה של סובה.
טרימקס 2000, מרשם בדוק להרזיה טבעית.
מהיום, אספקה שוטפת של פטריות, טריות וקפואות.
חדש מהולנד, שמפי פרי, פטריות טריות קפואות. מוציאים מהמקפיא בלי להפשיר והן טריות ופריחות כמו ביום שנקטפו. שמפי פרי, פטריות טריות קפואות, אין עוד כאלה בארץ והמחיר מפתיע. פטריות טריות שלמות או חתוכות, שמפי פרי. משהו נפלא קורה בבישול. שמפי פרי, פטריות טריות קפואות, היחידות הקשרות לפסח, עולים כיתה בבישול. הקומקום החשמלי פילטר ליין, החידוש המהפכני של פיליפס. בכל פעולת הרתחה מתפזרים חלקיקי אבנית וזיהום בתוך המים. הפילטר חוסם את מעבר חלקיקי האבנית והזיהום, והתוצאה, מים צלולים וטהורים. הפילטר עמיד לאורך זמן, נשלף וניתן לניקוי בקלות. פילטר ליין, בעיצוב חדשני, נוח, יעיל וחסכוני באנרגיה. פיליפס, העתיד כבר בפנים. מבית היוצר של בברלי הילס, מלרוס פלייס ודוגמניות בעם. על פי רב המחר של ג'קי קולינס.
This business is nothing more than prostitution.
I was a star.
You're still a star and you'll be number one again.
נשות הוליווד, שידורי קשת שבת הבאה אחרי הדקה ה-91. שלישי, פעמיים כי טוב באופן חד פעמי. 1. אביב גפן פותח את הפה.
אין לי שום אמונה, למשל בכותל.
2. דסטין הופמן בראיון בלעדי עם צאת סרטו החדש. דסטין הופמן ואביב גפן פעמיים כי טוב. דודו טופז בשלישי, פעם אחת ודי. רשות הבידור עם דודו טופז, שידורי קשת שלישי. כן, שלישי, 9:05. לקראת פסטיבל ישראל. המראות, הקולות והצבעים מפסטיבל ישראל 95. לקראת פסטיבל ישראל, שידורי קשת הלילה חצות 25.
No, I was scared to death that you would kill yourself.
All right, now you're saying you care if she lives or dies.
Yeah, I cared, damn it. I've cared all along. Mary Beth, what are you trying to do to me?
Well, you can forget you ever had a daughter, Bill. Because I'd rather see me and her dead before you get her.
Don't, Mary Beth, please don't.
You are pushing me to it. And now you're telling me that that my children can't have their house back? I have done this to everybody's life.
No, wait.
I gave her life. I can take her life away.
Mary Beth. No, Mary Beth. No, wait.
That's what I'm going to do, Bill. You've pushed me.
Mary Beth. Don't, okay? I don't want to see you hurt. I don't want to see my daughter hurt.
My daughter, too. Why don't you quit doing that, Bill, okay?
Okay. Okay, all right.
It's our daughter. Why don't you say it? Our daughter.
Okay. All right, it's our daughter. Okay, Mary Beth?
That's right. It's not my daughter or your daughter. It's our daughter. Why do you keep saying my? She's mine, too.
No, it's our daughter. Mary Beth? What do you want me to do?
You unfreeze everything, Bill. Everything. You let Ricky have that house back.
Okay. All right, wait.
You heard the tape being played in the courtroom?
Yes.
You heard the threats?
Yes.
Were you serious about them?
No. There was no way I would ever hurt any of my children. And I think Bill Stern knew that, too.
What were you trying to convey when talking to Bill Stern?
I was just trying to make him realize that what he was doing wasn't right either. And I thought if I said something like what he was doing, that he would stop.
And the threat about Tuesday?
I wanted him to realize that I wouldn't be the only one dragged through the mud. I just used it as a comparison.
During the period of May 5th to the end of July, what were you doing?
I was trying to do everything to come back and settle this thing up. I was never strong. I called up lawyers, but I couldn't get any help. After I had Sarah, I felt very weak. I don't know if it was all the emotions or physically there was something wrong with me, but I wanted my child. And I didn't want to hurt anybody, but I couldn't hurt her. I would never hurt any of my children.
Could you describe the relationship you have with your children?
It's a good relationship. They really look up to me. They admire me. They want me over anyone when they're sick or hurt. They love me. I'm their mother.
How do you feel about your children?
They're my life. I don't have education. I don't have any skills to really speak of. But the only skill that I know I do really well is being a mother. And no one can take that away from me. No one. It's one of the things that I do best, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I know I'd be a really excellent mother for Sarah.
Mary Beth, if the court awards you custody of Sarah, what kinds of things are you going to teach her?
A lot of things. Most of all, to be kind, loving, understanding. That there is no condition of love. And most of all, that when you make a mistake, you live up to it.
I didn't hear that.
When you make a mistake?
You live up to it.
When you make a mistake?
You live up to it.
Mary Beth, if you're awarded custody of Sarah, do you want Bill to see her?
Yes. I think it would be best for Sarah. We made a mistake, but I love both of them. I could put my arms around them both and tell them we made a mistake. That's it. But let's make the best of it. Let's not continue to hurt Sarah.
Give the baby back! Give the baby back! Give the baby back! Give the baby back! Give the baby back!
These women have come from as far as New York and Connecticut to express their support for Mrs. Whitehead as she begins yet another day of testimony in the custody phase of this historic trial. Yesterday, Mrs. Whitehead reported she felt...
Baby, steal it! How do you really say? How do you steal it?
Bill, wait, we better take those out. Mrs. Whitehead, when did you first realize Rick has a drinking problem?
When he had a car accident in 1978. And up to that point, I knew that he drank, but I didn't see it as a problem. In many ways, I don't see it as a problem now.
In many ways, you don't see it as a problem now?
It's a problem for Rick, not for me or my children.
Why don't you see it as a problem for yourself?
Because he's always been loving and kind. Rick isn't nasty when he drinks. He just falls asleep.
And you don't see it as a problem for Ryan and Tuesday?
No, I don't.
Now, you testified about an incident having to do with striking.
Objection to the word striking.
Witness said pushing. She pushed him. He pushed her.
The children weren't there. They were at my parents'.
Well, what happened?
I was angry that he was drinking. I told him to go to his mother's. I pushed him.
And what did he do?
I think he was lying on the couch. He just wanted to go to sleep and I was annoying him.
But what did he do?
He pushed me back.
And then what did you do?
I called the police, but that same night we made up and I felt really stupid for having called the police.
Now, do you recall a deposition of December 23rd, 1986? We asked you several questions, correct?
Yes.
And you were under oath at the time, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, do you recall these questions? I'm turning to page 106 now. Question, during your marriage, has the police ever been called to your home for any domestic reasons? Answer, no. Question, has there ever been any occasion when your husband has physically abused you? Answer, never. Now, do you recall those questions and answers?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you called the police, what did you tell them?
I don't remember.
Well, think back. Now, you're talking to the police about your husband.
I told you I was angry. It was stupid, and I don't remember the exact thing that I told them.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you tell them that he struck you?
I probably did, yes.
Did you tell them that he kicked you?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Did you tell them that he punched you?
I don't know.
Could you have told them that you wanted to file a complaint against him?
Yes, probably did, yes.
Mm-hmm. Could you have told him that he kicked you both in the legs and in the back?
No.
Could you have told him that he pushed you to the ground?
No.
Could you have told them that he pulled out your hair and punched you in the nose?
No.
Now, did the Oakhurst First Aid Squad take you to a hospital that night at your request?
I don't know.
You don't remember?
I didn't think I ever went.
Just a yes or no, ma'am. Listen to the question. If you're able to answer it, answer it.
I don't remember.
When did you and your husband actually separate?
1977 or 78. I don't remember the exact date.
And during this period, was he paying you support?
No.
Did you apply to and receive welfare payments?
Yes.
Now, are you aware of the fact that your husband made a deposition under oath that you and he never separated?
He probably forgot.
He forgot a 6 to 8 month separation?
Yes.
What, did you and Rick ever have any discussions about divorce?
Only jokingly, maybe.
Did you tell the Stearns that Rick was going to divorce you?
I might have told him that.
Did you tell someone at the infertility center that you and he were going to get a divorce? A Linda Salzer?
I don't remember, no.
Which is it? You don't remember or no?
I don't remember.
May 5th, 1986. Do you recall it?
Yes.
You handed the baby out the window to Rick.
Yes.
Where did Rick take the baby?
I wasn't with him. I think you have to ask Rick.
You don't know where Rick took the baby?
No, I got a phone call.
You handed the baby to Rick, and from May 5th until today's date, you never knew where he took the baby? Is that your testimony?
No.
Where did Rick take the baby?
I thought you were telling me May 5th. I didn't know that night.
Do you know now?
Yes.
Where did Rick take the baby?
To his mother's in Manasquan.
How did he get there?
He got a ride.
With whom?
I'm not really sure.
Well, think about that for a minute.
I don't know.
You don't know today how Rick got from your house to his mother's house?
No, I don't.
Didn't he tell you?
No.
You didn't think it was worth discussing with him?
No.
Well, on May 5th, you were handed some court papers, is that correct?
No, I was not.
You weren't handed any papers by any police officer?
I was not.
You didn't read any papers to anyone over the telephone?
No.
There was no conversation with a lawyer that day?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Do you know the name Richard Lange, L-A-N-G-E?
No.
If I tell you he's a police officer with the Bricktown Police Department?
I know the name. I don't think I'd recognize him.
If I tell you that he's filed a sworn certification with this court stating it was he personally that handed you the documents and he left with you having those documents, are you saying he's a liar?
I'm not calling anyone a liar, but I am telling you the truth.
Did you know that the judge ordered you to return the baby to the Stearns?
I didn't understand it.
You didn't understand it?
No.
What did you understand transpired if you didn't understand that?
I thought the judge was lied to.
You thought he was lied to?
Yes.
Therefore, you just got on an airplane and landed in Florida?
Yes.
Well, Mrs. Whitehead, have you now told us about every relative, every friend, every place you stayed in Florida for the 87 days you had the baby down there?
I believe yes. There may have been a couple of hotels in between places, but I can't give you the exact amounts because I don't know.
Well, hotels, motels, how many altogether do you think there were?
I don't know. Maybe 4 or 5 total.
Do you recall a deposition taken under oath of December 23rd, 1986?
Yes.
Do you remember this question? How many hotels or motels did you stay in? Answer, 15. Question, 15? Answer, yes. Question, how old was the child at the time? Answer, 6 weeks. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Well, during the 87 days, did you deliver the baby to any doctor for any kind of examination?
I called the doctors, yes.
Did you bring the baby to any doctor?
They said it wasn't necessary.
Mrs. Whitehead, I asked, did you bring the baby to any doctor in the 87 days? Just yes or no?
Yes, in Orlando.
What was the doctor's name?
It wasn't really a doctor. It was a birthing center that my cousin was active in, and there were doctors there.
Was there a doctor?
Yes.
Did the doctor see the child?
Yes.
What was the name of the doctor?
I don't know.
Did the child have any shots, any injections during the 87 days?
They said it wasn't necessary.
Mrs. Whitehead, yes or no? Did the child have any injections during the 87 days, any immunizations?
No.
Mrs. Whitehead, did you know anything contained in the court papers the police attempted to serve you and Rick?
Only that they said Melissa Stern instead of Sarah Whitehead.
Did your husband ever tell you that the matter had been sealed?
No.
Well, in your conversations with Bill Stern while you were in Florida, he told you the subject was sealed, didn't he?
I don't remember.
Well, when you came back to New Jersey, did you have interviews with the press?
My first attorney told me to.
And prior to that, did you ever have any interviews with the press?
Only when I was sick in the hospital. They came right into my room.
You didn't give permission?
No.
They were able to just get right in?
They certainly were.
Mrs. Whitehead, now isn't it a fact that you had to give permission to the hospital staff to give an interview on television news?
I don't remember that, no.
Mm-hmm. Your Honor, may I approach the witness here? I'll show you the hospital record and release form here, and I ask you to follow along, all right? Patient Mary Beth Whitehead requested to be interviewed by TV newspapers regarding a heretofore unrevealed social saga involving surrogate mother, kidnapped baby, etc., will allow short interview per patient's request as she is medically stable. Risk management notified. Mrs. Whitehead, I show you a document encaptioned Certification of Mary Beth Whitehead, dated August 13th, 1986. Now, is this your signature underneath here where it says, I certify that the foregoing statements made by me are true. I am aware that if any of the foregoing statements made by me are willfully false, I am subject to punishment.
Yes.
All right. I direct your attention now to paragraph 3. Would you read that for me, please? Paragraph 3.
I would like the court to know that I kept the Sterns continuously informed of Sarah's well-being and of my general whereabouts in Florida by at least 5 phone calls during the time I was out of New Jersey with her.
How many weeks were you in Florida before you called Bill Stern?
About 6 weeks.
How many calls were there?
3 altogether.
Did you ever tell him where you were?
No, I did not.
All right, now you heard the tape-recorded conversations between you and Bill Stern, did you not?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Paragraph 8. I did not threaten to kill Sarah, whom I love very, very much. That thought was never in my mind, and I never uttered any such statements.
I don't know what my first lawyer filed.
Well, in the tape, did you hear yourself making accusations to Bill Stern that he had sexually abused your daughter Tuesday?
Yes.
Outsider, אני יודע, outsider, אני יודע, 5 3 בקבוקים, כוס אחת מתנה, כוס מתנה, כוס מתנה, כוס מתנה.
מבצע אביב בלנקום. על קנייה ב-299 שקלים תקבלי תמורת 10 שקלים בלבד מזוודה יוקרתית מתקפלת. לנקום, מטפחת אותך באהבה.
זה לא זה, בלי קרמל סלקטד.
שלום. תן לי להמליץ לך על מקרר. זה לא מקרר, זה רהיט.
הוא שקט, הוא לא מזיע.
חלקי חילוף, 50 שנה.
אצלנו החסה תחזיק ממד חודשיים.
מהחלל הזמינו אצלי 1000 חתיכות.
אני מפסיד עליך.
קניתי כזה לאחותי.
לאמא שלי.
לגרושתי.
אני קניתי 2.
ג'נרל אלקטריק. אחרי שתנסה, לא תרצה מקרר אחר. ג'נרל אלקטריק. איכות חיים לכל החיים.
The forbidden fragrance from Parfum Cacharel.
עדן, הניחוח האסור.
העולם עובר לביטוח ישיר מעכשיו גם בישראל. עשה ביטוח בחברה לביטוח ישיר וחסוך עד 20% בביטוח רכב ועד 40% בביטוח דירה. לשירותך מוקד טיפול בתביעות 24 שעות ביממה ומסלול אקספרס לתשלום תביעות. חייג 565-4040.
ביטוח ישיר שלום.
חייג ישיר, קבל מחיר.
565-4040.
עצמאי המנהל ספרי חשבונות בשיטה חד-צידית, מנהל חברה שכיר החייב בהגשת הדוח השנתי למס הכנסה. זה הזמן לחשוב על הדוח השנתי. את הדוח יש להגיש עד 30 באפריל. הדרכה במילוי הדוח תוכלו לקבל בלשכות ההדרכה של מס הכנסה בלא תשלום. אם לא קיבלתם את טופס הדוח בדואר, ישו עכשיו למשרד מס הכנסה הקרוב למקום מגוריכם, מלאו, שלמו והגישו בזמן. אגף מס הכנסה ממשיך לתת אמון בנישומים המגישים דוחות מהימנים ובמועד.
לפניכם שואב האבק הרעב ביותר בעולם. פיליפ סופר טורבו 738, היחיד עם 2 מדחסי טורבו המפתחים 1400 ואט.
כך פיליפס, העתיד כבר בפנים.
ועכשיו חידוש עולמי ובלעדי, גלי אבק מהפכני חינם לרוכשים שואב פיליפ סופר טורבו 738.
כשעוצרים וחושבים על זה רגע, יש מקום לכולם. למייקל, לדן, לנגיסט, לאנה. העלייה נמשכת. מתנדבים המוכנים לסייע בקליטת עולים חדשים, אנא התקשרו לטלפון 177-022-5299.
כלבים, כלבים, חני גבוה. כלבים, כלבים, לכל המשפחה. כלבים, כלבים, כפר נופש נהדר. כלבים, אילת קרה נופש, לא נגמר, לא נגמר.
זה לא זה בלי קרמל סלקטד.
מבית היוצר של בברלי הילס, מלרוס פלייס ודוגמניות בעם, על פי רב המחר של ג'קי קולינס, קנדיס ברגן, אנטוני הופקינס, מרי קרוסבי, רוד סטייגר, סוזן סאמרס, סטפני פאוורס ואנג'י דיקנסון. נשות הוליווד, שידורי קשת שבת הבאה אחרי הדקה ה-91.
שלישי, פעמיים כי טוב, באופן חד פעמי. 1. גלגל המזל, תוכנית ראשונה עם מנחת הגלגל החדשה, רות גונזלס. 2. דסטין הופמן ואביב גפן ברשות הבידור עם דודו טופז. שלישי בשידורי קשת, אמצע השבוע, מרכז העניינים. שלישי.
If the defense, if they prove that there's a relationship between a witness and a detective, then your credibility shot, so is mine.
We're here alone. I won't tell if you won't. Sexy.
NYPD, שידורי קשת, שלישי אחרי גבי גזית.
בארבע עיניים, תוכנית התחקירים של קוני צ'אן. שידורי קשת, התוכנית הבאה.
December 31st, 1986, Do you recollect a deposition taken in the office of Lorraine Abraham?
Yes.
Question, Mrs. Whitehead, did you ever accuse Mr. Stern of sexual abuse? Answer, not that I recall. Question, did anyone ever tell you Mr. Stern had sexually abused a child? Answer, not that I recall. You remember those answers?
Yes, I do.
What have you done to insulate Tuesday from the impact of this lawsuit?
All I can say now is that we're very hopeful. And if there comes a time there's going to be trouble, we'll have to worry about that when we get there.
Did you authorize your attorney to request that Tuesday be allowed to testify?
That was on her decision. She wanted to talk to the judge.
Mrs. Whitehead, please answer my question. How old is Tuesday?
11 years old, Lorraine.
Do you acknowledge that you bear responsibility for her safety, her happiness, and her welfare?
That's correct.
Tuesday has her own room at home, does she not?
Yes.
How large is the room?
I'm not sure. 10 by 10.
What furniture is in there?
Double bed, dresser, desk.
What else is in the room?
Sarah's crib.
How long has the crib been in there?
Since we came home in August.
Did the baby ever sleep in that crib in Tuesday's room in Bricktown?
No.
Did you ever discuss with anyone what the impact would be on Tuesday of having that empty crib sitting in her room since August?
We were hoping to get it filled.
Please answer my question.
Listen to the question.
Did you ever discuss that with anyone?
Yes, with Tuesday.
With Tuesday?
Yes.
Mrs. Whitehead, what would you do to protect the baby from the publicity and notoriety that has happened as a result of this trial?
Everything I can do.
And what is that?
I'll have to cross that bridge when I get to it, Lorraine. I'm sorry. I wish I could look into the future. I can't.
Why do you think that you should have custody of the baby?
Because I'm the mother. A child belongs with her mother. I feel she has to know Bill and Betsy, sure, but she also has to know about me. You know, you can wish me away as much as you want, but I'm here, and I'm the mother. And I think to lie to that child about my not being her mother, I think she wants me to be her mother. I have no doubt about that. I'll never find another girl like you. For happy endings it takes two. With fire and ice, a dream will come true. Sarah, Sarah.
Mrs. Whitehead has an immature personality structure. She has a real problem separating her own needs from those of her baby. She has an enmeshed, overly involved relationship with all her children. Her husband calls them her Ken and Barbie dolls. I recommend custody to the Sterns and no visitation at this time.
Mrs. Whitehead has raised 2 children successfully during her teen years and times of financial stress. She has demonstrated great concern for them and has an affectionate and warm relationship with both of them. I recommend joint custody. The Sterns are more intellectually gifted, better educated, and financially secure. The Whiteheads have an extended family, a brother and a sister, a loving stepfather. She would have the best of both worlds.
Based on my interviews and house visits, I have determined that Mrs. Whitehead has a mixed personality disorder. There's a need for exhibitionism and constant attention. I recommend custody to the Sterns and a termination of Mrs. Whitehead's parental rights.
To diagnose a personality disorder, one must show that it has existed over a period of time. This just isn't so for Mrs. Whitehead. Everything can be attributed to the present crisis.
Mrs. Whitehead was grieving, bereft, pushed to the wall. Her coping mechanisms were taxed. In violating the court order, Mary Beth answered to a morality of relationships and of caring, rather than a morality of law.
I'm in no way implying that she's an unfit mother per se. But I believe she could be an unfit mother for this child. I think she's become so over-identified with this baby that she would thwart attempts on the part of the child to develop a sense of herself as separate and unique. As far as joint custody or visitation is concerned, these people can't agree to give this baby the one thing that everybody in this courtroom has, a name.
Motherhood is devalued by this trial.
Yes.
Mary Beth Whitehead has been made a humiliated beggar by Judge Sokol.
What sort of person takes a child from its mother and doesn't let her see it? The trial is a travesty.
Everybody's talking about mother's rights. Mother's rights. Now, what about father's rights?
Give the baby back.
I'm a father.
Give the baby back.
Fathers have dreams, too.
Give the baby back. Give the baby back. Give the baby back.
Mr. Cassidy, your summation, please.
On March 27th, in what was a flush of ecstasy, Mary Beth Whitehead gave birth to a new human being and immediately knew that she could not deny what she was, the mother of that baby. She knew and felt a bond with her child stronger than any sense of obligation she had with Phil Stern. Mr. Stern is asking the court to terminate her rights as a mother because he wished to circumvent adoption laws and satisfy his own needs without regard for the harm that would be done to the baby, to Mrs. Whitehead and to her family. Such a request, if granted, would morally bankrupt the people of this state. The Sterns didn't inconvenience themselves to have their own child because they were busy pursuing their careers. Infertility was a lie. Inconvenience was the truth. They again didn't inconvenience themselves to investigate adoption procedures designed to protect children and mothers from exploitation. Instead, they shifted all the inconvenience to Mary Beth Whitehead. I tell this court there is nothing more fundamentally repugnant than permitting a man to have one woman to share his life and another to experience the sacrifice and pain of pregnancy and a lifetime of suffering as a result of separation from her child. It will always be the wife of the sanitation worker who will bear the children for the pediatrician. You need only compare the testimony of the Sterns to that of Mary Beth Whitehead. When the Sterns testified, it was pure honesty, total credibility. There's no exaggeration, no contradictions. When Mary Beth Whitehead testified, there was an absence of any veracity, of any credibility. Her lack of candor ranged from evasiveness to selective memory to blatant lies told under oath. The bottom line is very simple. You can't believe anything the Whiteheads tell you. They lie. Your Honor, there is no precedent for a surrogate parenting case, but if ever there was a case where the court must fashion a remedy to save a child, this is it. If ever there was a case where the judge could terminate parental rights without a finding of neglect or unfitness, this is it. Your Honor, the child needs stability and peace. Awarding custody to the Sterns, coupled with the termination of Mary Beth Whitehead's parental rights, affords this child her only chance of achieving that stability and peace. Only in this way can she be nurtured in a loving environment, free of chaos, sheltered from the public eye. Melissa deserves no less.
Thank you, Mr. Scolo. Mrs. Abraham, your
approximation, please?
Defendant's counsel would have us believe that Mary Beth Whitehead's only fault is that she loved too much. I have no doubt that she loved the baby. It is the nature of her love that is called into question. To love the child is to allow the child the freedom to love another and to attach to the father. The blatant and continual denial of the rights of William Stern by Mrs. Whitehead, by fleeing, by staying out of contact, by continually referring to him as Mr. Sperm Donor, must disturb us all. The observation of every expert is that the Sterns have formed a strong attachment to Melissa, and that she has a strong attachment to them, that the Sterns have a supportive, warm, and stable relationship. All this said and done, although I agree with the experts that custody should go to Bill Stern, I do not call for the termination of Mary Beth's parental rights. We must accept that time heals, that people are capable of change, and that to terminate is irrevocable. It may, in fact, be inhuman.
Now that the argument's over, do you have any thoughts? Well, the arguments may be over, but not the feelings I have about having to go to court and hurt Mary Beth, which I didn't enjoy. Looking at Melissa, I can't forget that she had a lot to do with her creation. But she came onto this earth because of a dream that Betsy and I had. Without that dream, there would have been no contact with Mary Beth and no Melissa. We have a responsibility for her.
She's my flesh and blood. That's a very big responsibility. It certainly outweighs their dream. I just want her home. If my whole family wants her home again, it won't be over until she's home.
Whitehead, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for. For good times and bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. Keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for.
Hi. Well, nobody followed.
Good.
Yeah, because I was sure the press would get onto us.
Well, I knew we could do this privately, and we did.
Okay. Bye.
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 Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sarah. Happy birthday to you.
Hello, sweetie. Smile, sweetie. Oh, what a pretty picture.
Oh,
yeah.
So what about some ice cream?
Oh, okay.
Silly.
Tuesday, why don't you help me?
Sure.
Oh, there we go. There we go, big girl. Want some ice cream?
Mom, can I see? Lorraine just told me that the judge is probably going to make his decision this week.
I think he made his decision last May 5th.
I don't. Want to know why?
Why?
Because this is only the second time he's let Ryan, Daddy, or me visit Sarah. He said he didn't want us to get our hopes up. I don't think he'd change and get our hopes up right before his decision if we weren't supposed to get our hopes up. Besides, you're the mother.
I hope you're right, honey.
This court is satisfied that Mrs. Stern had a sound sense of threat to her well-being where she had become pregnant. She believed the medical knowledge of the time that the risks were high. And even if minimal, a risk is still a risk to the one who is faced with it, and so it was a genuine risk to Mrs. Stern. Another concern about surrogacy is that the practice will undermine traditional notions of family. How can that be when the childless husband and wife want so very much to have a child? They seek to make a family. In addition, the U.S. Supreme Court has held that the right to procreate is among the most basic civil rights of man, and that individuals have a right to privacy. This court therefore concludes that the surrogate parenting agreement is valid. But now the court must determine if the enforcement is in the best interests of baby M. Mrs. Whitehead did not want or plan for this child. Her testimony was quite to that effect. Mrs. Whitehead has a genuine problem in recognizing and reporting truth. Her own expert says she lies under stress. She testified to what she chose, intentionally not recalling facts or outright lying on the witness stand. She has been found to be too enmeshed with the infant child and unable to subordinate herself to the needs of the child. She is manipulative and exploitive. She does not concern herself with the consequences of her acts. She is without empathy. She expresses none for her husband's alcohol problem or her infusing her own children into these proceedings. Of great concern to this court was the non-appearance of Mr. Whitehead on the best interest phase of this case. It was therefore not possible to ask him about his parenting views, his disability, and whether he would be a viable, concerned, and supportive stepfather for this child with such special needs. Neither did a single one of Rick and Mary Beth's 10 brothers and sisters testify on their behalf. This court is satisfied by clear and convincing proof that Mr. and Mrs. Stern wanted and planned for this child. They show sensitivity to the child's physical and emotional needs. They have a quiet, private, and unremarkable life which augurs well for a stable household environment. They have a strong and mutually supportive relationship. They presented as credible and sincere and truthful people. They have shown an ability to make rational judgments in face of the most trying emotional circumstances. They have obeyed the law. It is for all these reasons that we find, by clear and convincing evidence, beyond reasonable doubt, that Melissa's best interest will be served by being placed in her father's sole custody. Order. And this court hereby orders to be done that which ought to have been done, performance of the surrogate parenting agreement, the result of which is the termination of all parental rights Mary Beth Whitehead has or had in the child to be known as Melissa Stern. Mrs. Whitehead agreed to terminate. This court gives effect to her agreement. Thank you. Order. Order, please. Now, if I may see Mr. and Mrs. Stern and counsel in my chambers, please. This court is adjourned.
Can we get a statement, please? Congratulations.
Here it comes.
It's in!
What's wrong? I don't know. Just hold 1 second. Excuse me. What? Has anything come in? Yes, custody went to the Stearns and
By the powers vested in me by the state of New Jersey, I hereby grant you, Betsy Stern, legal adoption of Melissa Elizabeth Stern.
Mary? The judge gave custody to the Stearns. Well, at least I still get to visit her tomorrow. I still got that, right?
Days later, Mary Beth Whitehead filed an appeal to the New Jersey Supreme Court and was granted a continuation of visitation rights pending the outcome of this appeal. On February 3, 1988, the New Jersey Supreme Court reversed the trial court, finding that the surrogacy contract violated New Jersey statutes and public policy. It stated, "We find the payment of money to a surrogate mother illegal, perhaps criminal, and potentially degrading to women." The High Court restored Mary Beth Whitehead's parental rights and nullified Elizabeth Stern's adoption of Melissa. The court also stated Mrs. Whitehead was rather harshly judged, both by the trial court and by some of the experts. She did break a very important promise, but we think it is expecting something well beyond the normal human capabilities to suggest that this mother should have parted with her newly born infant without a struggle. We do not find it so clear that her efforts to keep her infant, when measured against the Stearns' efforts to take her away, make one rather than the other the wrongdoer. However, the New Jersey Supreme Court upheld the trial court's determination that the evidence clearly proved Melissa's interests would be best served by remaining in the custody of her father, William Stern. Last November, Mary Beth, pregnant with the child of Dean Gould, divorced Rick Whitehead. She married Mr. Gould 2 weeks later. She and Rick share joint custody of Tuesday and Ryan. On April 6, 1988, the court granted Mary Beth unsupervised visits with Melissa, initially for 1 day a week and within 18 months for 2-day visits and portions of the summer. The court felt that Melissa and her mother have the right to develop their own special relationship. In addition, the court took note of the changes in Mary Beth's life and found that her marital problems have been resolved through divorce, and she has attained family stability with her new husband. On May 9, 1988, Mary Beth Whitehead Gould gave birth to her 4th child, a son.